Okay, short video on how to complete cash flow template for a food and beverage business. All right, keep it simple. The yellow fields are the fields where you input data or you input numbers. This is obviously the balance sheet. This is for an existing business. So if you're a startup, don't worry about this. But if you're an existing business that's been trading at least 12 months, you should have a balance sheet. So you just input the numbers there. Here, average spend, so that's how much per head people are spending on average for each of these categories here. Other, there's an open up comment there which outlines what could be another. That's another revenue stream. So mobile vans, you get some food businesses where you've got mobile sort of hub and a spoke type businesses. They might have a food van or a coffee van that goes down to the local footy or this sort of thing. So that's an income stream. You might have businesses that have got vending machines, like small supermarkets that have vending machines as well, so that's an income stream, indoor and outdoor. You also have some food businesses where the business owner obviously owns the property they're in, so they may have a billboard contract on the side of the building, this sort of thing. Not very common, but wanted to include it if it's a regular and a reliable income stream. So you'll need to fiddle with the section here because obviously you're not sort of doing this on a daily basis. If you need to, just throw in the annual number there. It's no big deal. And it'll just total up down here. So here you'd put how many covers, how many per head per day. Pretty straightforward stuff. Obviously, use your own judgment. You're the experienced food and beverage professional. You'll know how many covers you do, or you may want to consult your franchisor, that sort of thing as well. So I've just put some numbers in here, obviously, to fill it up, but you can just go in and change it. Down here, now, obviously I've got this starting at January. If you're starting your business in June, July, August, whenever, just put that new month in there. So let's try June. If I go June, June, that's fine. Now what you do is you see this little sort of black dot here. If you let your cursor turn into a little square like that, you see how it turns into a little black square or cross, sorry, in the square, and you click it and you drive it down like this, boom, boom, it changes it to a year. Now that'll feed across to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. Go back to January. There you are. Put the cursor, the big white one on top, the big white cross. When I run over that little dot, it turns to a black cross. Click, drag down, and it changes it back. Okay, so this is the seasonality and startup factor. This is important, very important. Seasonality relates to summer, winter, school holidays, when you see more sales. So that's pretty common sense stuff. One represents just normal trading. So probably just regulars, locals, no summer months, no surges, no nothing. If there is an increase in trade, you would then increase the factor. So this is like a multiplier factor, right? So down here I got 1.3, primarily because it's Christmas. So a lot of people on holidays, a lot of families out and about. So you're going to see more increased trade. Don't touch this because this then adjusts for staffing requirements to allow for that. So 0.5 represents normal staffing complement for normal trading conditions. So in a startup situation, you might say, well, in the first couple of months, we're going to be down. So I'd go 0.5, 0.5, and there you go. So that just represents that it's a bit of a lean month, first couple of months if it's a startup. And so that'll just reflect in the revenue figures over on the other side. So even though you do all of this up here, I'm just going to adjust the income figures on the other side in the cash flow to represent the fact that it's going to be a lean start. So don't worry too much about adjusting the numbers up the top there. We can just do it with the totals. It's much easier. All right, so that's the sales and seasonality and startup factor. Very important. If you have any doubt about how to do that, just call me, 0429 500 921. I can just explain it to you again. All right, so if you fill all that in, it'll cross over here on CFF to a cash flow. So these numbers will obviously preload based on the seasonality factor. You see that there? These are the ratios. Now, I've just input the industry averages. If you agree with those, just leave it alone. If you disagree, go in there and change it to what you think it would be. Okay? So they will then, of course, pre-populate those numbers and they'll come across. Now, obviously, there's nothing in here because these tend to be fixed costs. So you just need to input those numbers. The simplest thing to do is, for example, rent's a good one. If rent's, I don't know, let's go $2,000, pick a number. If you know it's every month, again, just that little black dot there. You see how the thing changes to a black cross? Click it and drag it across. Let go, boom. See how it does that? Okay, now if you want to undo something, Control Z, Control and the letter Z, Control Z, boom, brings it back again, and I'm just going to delete that. So that's how you do that. So fill it all out, and that'll obviously total up over here, which is good. Down here, if you've got a bank loan, throw that in there as well, whatever the minimum monthly repayment is, and if it's on interest only, just put in the interest only. Silver Chef payments. Now, this is important, okay, because we tend to quote weekly. Now, this is a monthly cash flow, so you have to convert this figure to monthly. How do you do that? Weekly times 52, and then divide that by 12. And there's your monthly. Now, important, if you're on Advantage, you've got the first 6 months repayment free. No, nothing to pay for 6 months. So we want to see 6 zeros in the first 6 months in your Silver Chef contract, in your Silver Chef financing fields. All right, and obviously it'll pick it up here. We can extrapolate it and do a year 2 forecast and all this sort of thing at our end. But yeah, make sure you put zeros in there for the first 6 months. Now, if you intend to pay yourself, that'll go down there. Keep in mind, obviously, that you don't want to end up with negative cash flow necessarily. But we understand you may want to pay yourself on day one. Or if you're an existing business, obviously you already are paying yourself, so that would just go in there. Okay, down here is your cash flow table. Okay, now this is your balance on day one. All right, so if you start out with an overdraft and you're already negative 10,000 on day one, obviously that figure goes in there. If you've got some cash, and my recommendation would always be to retain as much cash as you can, then that figure would go in there. So here, let's say that you've got 10,000 in the bank. Start that on day one. Fantastic. You've made 25,000 in the first month. Obviously based on these numbers, I haven't got anything in here yet, of course, but let's just go with the simple maths. That means in the bank you should have 35 grand, and obviously that just carries on, and that gives us an idea of your net cash flows. Okay, it's a very basic sort of calculation. It's not getting too carried away, but we're not getting too far down the track with trying to understand detail. We just want to get a handle on how the cash flow position will go. All right, so that's the cash flow. So once you've done all that, save it and send it to me. Again, anything at all about this that doesn't make sense, please don't stress about it. Just get straight on the phone to me, 0429 500 921. You can ring me 7 days a week if you need to, because I understand food businesses, you're working on the weekend. No problem. I'll take the call and I'll talk you through it and get this thing done. Okay, thank you.